Hey everybody, it's Scott from Physio Strength Club here, where my goal is to develop human thought, perception, movement, and resilience. So I thought I'd just get on here today and talk you through what's been going on in my world and talk about why I do what I do. Okay, so we just had the first group of people go through the Strong Body and Strong Mind Challenge. That is a 6-week program, if you don't know already, of exercises as well as nutrition advice. We've got some meal plans in there, so you don't have to think about what you're going to be eating. So you can calculate your calories. Now, if your goal is sort of to bulk up a bit, you can calculate calories and have a little bit of a surplus. Good food in there so that you can build the right muscles and the right mass, basically, without hopefully putting on any body fat. So you've got your nutrition in there. I've also got your high protein meals if you want to refer to that. But anyway, my goal today is in talking through the program. But we've had people coming out of the program. They're enjoying the meals. They're enjoying the structured exercise that's in their 6-week program. 3 or 4 sessions a week of exercise. I've made it all bodyweight exercise, so it's nice and easy to do. You can do it anywhere. Obviously, this is all run off my app, so it's like having me in your pocket, having a strength and conditioning coach, a physiotherapist. They're my 2 major qualifications. But I'll get into in a moment. Also, a little bit of a bit of a guru or a life coach, and other kind of mental skills. They're a little bit less related to the physical. That is my kind of more formal education background. So yeah, we've got people coming out of the program, the challenge, the Strong Mind, Strong Body challenge, saying that they're really enjoying the guided meditations that are in there and the other practices that help them sort of build up mental resilience. There's some physical and some mental practices in there that can sort of train the brain and also sort of change your outlook on life. But my goal for today is to sort of talk to you about why I do what I do, why I put together the Strong Body, Strong Mind challenge, and where I've come from, my background. So if you can't tell from the accent, I grew up in Australia. I had the fairly, I guess, stereotypical Aussie upbringing, very active, very sporty, very outdoorsy. Like a lot of guys my age at the time in high school, I kind of really wanted to sort of think how could I use kind of that sporty, that active approach with my career. So I looked in, when I got to the end of high school, I looked into doing physiotherapy, but you need to be quite smart to do physio in Australia. We had something, I think it was either the UAI or the TER, Tertiary Entrance Rank, or University Administration Admission Index or something like that. And I think they kind of changed it up a bit each year, but essentially you got a score out of 100. Now you needed high 90s to get into physiotherapy. So even though I would have liked to go straight into physio, I was looking at my different options, but you needed to be a relatively high mark. I think it was in and around the 90s to get into a sports science degree. But by the end of high school, I realized that that's probably actually more where I wanted to go. So I applied for and got the right marks and got into sports science degree at Sydney University. So I learned that knowledge, and then when I graduated, I started applying it in gyms. But I always had a desire to move to London, travel, see the world. So then I moved to London around 2004. Actually, not around 2004. It was May 2004 exactly. And I started working in gyms over here. But then I wanted to actually get into, I think a lot of people when they go into sports science, they have desire to get into elite sport. And I grew up playing soccer, football, so that was something I really wanted to get into, work-wise. So I had been that. Now I was in England, and the Premier League was the biggest English-speaking league in the world. I thought, why not have a crack at it while I was over here? I only really came over just to travel really and do a bit of work. I thought, whilst I was here, why don't I give it a crack? To that end, I ended up doing a master's in strength and conditioning. And then I got some work in football clubs. Initially started out sort of as an intern at Watford, not getting paid. And I moved over to Barnet and doing a little bit of paid work over there. And eventually I moved on to Cambridge United, where I was actually the first team full-time strength and conditioning coach for a little while. Then once I moved on from that, I ended up back working in gyms. And I sort of, had personal training business back and forth. But anyway, so I kind of got down the exercise bit. I think I definitely got, everyone knows exercise is good for you. And I think I got pretty good at prescribing exercise. Now, in the meantime, like career probably wasn't going as well for me as I would have liked. Bit of relationship problems too. So I decided to, I mean, not related to this, but anyway, I decided to requalify as a physiotherapist. Whilst I was replying, I sort of had a major relationship breakdown. And when I graduated my physiotherapy degree, I basically had no partner, no job, not a lot going for me. Sort of, I'd say that's probably my rock bottom. But what I did do was I realized that it was an opportunity to work on myself. I realized that my relationship had fallen apart for a variety of reasons, and mostly they probably had a lot to do with me. Like takes two to tango. So I thought, going forward, I'd like to change myself. I'd like to improve my relationships. I'd like to improve my performance in every way. I mean, I've always had a passion for, human performance, trying to optimize it. During my personal training, I got into, I looked at supplements as a personal trainer. You looked at nutrition. So I've really done a lot of reading in and around that area. So that forms kind of the foundation for my strong body. I think exercise, nutrition are the ways to go. We kind of all know that, go the ways to get a good, strong, healthy body. But the mind stuff started to come on in about 5 years ago. After this relationship, I started doing a lot of reading. I started listening to a lot of podcasts. Those podcasts often had book recommendations. As I said, I did a lot of reading, and then sort of coming in kind of general philosophy in and around what it takes to sort of have mental performance, mental clarity. And I've taken that, and then I started blogging a few years ago, putting that into my blog Physio Strength Club. That's kind of where the name came from, given that I used to be a strength coach, then I became a physio strength. And then I wanted to sort of form a community in and around and share this knowledge with people, help other people, live long, happy, good-looking lives, because I'm not the only one who obviously wants it. I think we all want that, but sometimes people don't really know how to go about it, don't want to waste their time. People have probably tried all these fad diets, have tried, different groups. Okay, this summer it's Barry's boot camp. Next year it's Pilates. Something like that. So I wanted to sort of distill that information down and just sort of distribute it out there. So I started blogging, and then when lockdown came along, I was furloughed, so I had a bit more time on my hands. And I think what I wanted to do, I think I've always considered writing a book, but no, like I think in this day and age, books are great. I think I think it'll be definitely something that I'll do one day. But I recognize that apps is really something that, I mean, it's the old cliche, isn't it? Is there an app for that? Clean my car is an app for that, whatever it happens to be. But I realize that people, like to have that information, and we're all carrying our phones around. We want to have that information instantly accessible. A book is good, but it's like click through, find out. Oh yeah, that's the bit. Easy, go in. That's the bit I want to know. Bosh. So that's kind of my background and how I came at this, reading and listening to people talk, and and the best practices for everything that I put in the app. So there's your sleep practices, there's your nutrition, which I already knew a lot about. There's and just general kind of leading a long, healthy life. So that's basically how I end up putting this app together. And this isn't all theory either. These are practices that I put into my everyday life. As is, I'm a busy guy. I have a full-time job that requires me to work long hours. I'm a full-time physiotherapist. I used to work in the NHS. The stories are true. The NHS is a very stressful place to work. It's underfunded, overworked, people who work in the NHS. So I've had to be able to manage my own mental health through that. I continue to do that. I think a lot of guys aren't paying that much attention traditionally to their mental health, but I've recognized that after a long day of seeing patients, talking to them, a lot of elderly, a lot of people in very difficult situations, people who don't have a lot of money, and everything. I saw the full gamut, people from poor socioeconomic, language barriers. I saw the full gamut. And then sometimes you're naturally going to take that on. So I realized that I need to manage my own mental health. I also need to manage my own physical health. Even though I was and am a trainer, excuse me, I have to motivate myself to get up there and do that. I need to, go to the gym. So don't think that I'm just standing on a pedestal, reading from textbooks, or just repeating what someone else says. These are the sort of practices that I put into the app that I know I can implement. I can do in my busy schedule, my busy life. So I know they work basically. So as I said, the world went into lockdown at the end of March, and I saw a lot of people struggling with their mental health. A lot of people confined to their homes, and they needed practices that they could implement. One, whilst they're on lockdown, but two, going forward once they came back out of lockdown. So I put together the 6-week exercise program. It's based on body weight, so that and you can do it anywhere. On lockdown back in April, when people weren't allowed to leave the house, or they're allowed to go outside for an hour a day of exercise. So I put together sort of 20 to 40-minute workouts that people could do. A lot of people were very stressed. They didn't know what was going to happen to them. They didn't know what was going to happen to the world. So there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of mental health issues going around. So I made sure that I put stuff in the app that'll help them with that. Also eating. I mean, people weren't eating out. So, and people basically were drinking and not exercising that much and eating poorly because they were sad. And so I wanted to do something that could sort of turn it around and have people come out of lockdown sort of a better version of themselves, as opposed to, it's been stretched out now into 6 months. Initially, we thought it would be three months where they sort of just went off the rails. I wanted to take something away from lockdown myself, to feel like I've actually contributed. So I built the app, and I wanted other people to be able to come out of lockdown the best version of themselves, make sure that they're leading their best life, and almost like a reset. It's so easy for people to get busy just going about their daily life, and almost like reactionary. Now, that's in the app. There's a lot of practices that it's not reactionary. You have to go about, and you have to actually manage these things. You have to plan exercise. You have to plan your diet. You have to actually actively manage your mental health, implement practices that you do every day that keeps you mentally healthy. And also, the crossover between health and performance is massive. So all these practices, whatever, obviously if you do some exercise, you're going to get healthy. It's the ultimate panacea. But also, if you're going to get fit and strong and be able to take on the world and not get tired, similar with your mental health, like it's not just about, preventing depression. It's about, when you get back into work, these practices will help you make better decisions, quicker decisions, not get emotional, not be reactive to work situations. One of the books I read was called The Chimp Paradox. So making sure that, and that's about your upper brain, making sure that you're more your hindbrain, you're more traditional. What's the word am I looking for? The brain that like other animals have, the thing that separates humans from the monkey brain. Let's just call it the monkey brain. It's the more the word losing me now. Simple prehistoric. Let's go prehistoric. No, that's not the right word. But the less evolved part of the brain. There we go. Let's go with that. Making sure that doesn't take over. Make sure that the chimp doesn't take over. And therefore, if you're controlling that chimp, you're more likely to perform better at work, make better decisions, and then that's where we cross over into the performance part of my philosophy and the way I approach things and the things I put in my app. So that's why I built this 6 weeks challenge. It's a 6 weeks challenge because it's about changing your habits. But like any habit, as a habit, it's formed. Hopefully, then these are skills that you'll be able to keep going for the rest of your life and build on. I intend to work on myself, and I intend to take that knowledge and sort of siphon it down and distill it out into the world. You can share that on my blog, and then implement that into any other kind of product that I produce in the future. So that is why I've spent a large part of my lockdown developing this online challenge, this online program, to make sure that people have the right skills, things that can be implemented at home or in their busy lifestyle. So, it hasn't got any fad diets in there. It's got calorie controlled, balanced nutrition. It's got a balanced exercise program so that it's not all just for one muscle group or anything like that. Some people struggle with that. It's got practices that you can do every day to go forward, and it's not difficult to do. It's challenging, but it's not difficult. You have to get uncomfortable at times, and that forms a large part of my philosophy, finding comfort or finding discomfort to help improve yourself. You never improve in your comfort zone, do you? I think I read that you need to be 4% out of your comfort zone. I don't know how you quantify that. I don't know how you measure 4% outside your comfort zone, but apparently that's how far you need to be in the ideal world. Something that's slightly harder, slightly more challenging, slightly more discomfortable. Is that a word? Discomfortable. I guess it's a word. I use it, so it must be a word. What happened there? I don't know if it's still. It seemed to drop out then, and then now it's come back up recording. Anyway, so as I said, it's not about any fad diet. It's not about the latest, high intensity routine that's gonna be the cure all things. It's nothing about fads. It's not about needing to find enlightenment. It's not about any of that stuff that maybe other people say you should do. It's not about anything except for practices that I know are effective and that can be implemented into everyday life and taken forward. Habits that can be formed that you can go forward. It's not a 6-week challenge where you just do this. Maybe you lose a bit of weight, maybe you get a little bit healthier, and then you just let it all go. It's about establishing habits that you can maintain for the rest of your life. So yeah, that's about me, where I've come from, why I've developed the program, how I know this knowledge, and put it all. And now I've got this product I think is ideal for anyone who leads a busy life, who doesn't have time to really spend a lot of time on these different things, but know they're important. So that's just it. So if you're a busy individual and you're looking for something that you can easily implement, you realize that you need to make a change in your life. You don't want to keep going and descend into, I don't quite eat healthy, I'm putting on a bit of weight, and I don't exercise enough, I don't have a routine because I can't get into a proper routine, and I'm stressed at work, and I get angry at my spouse, and I just need to change my life. If you're someone who recognizes that they're probably not performing at their absolute best, or think you just need maybe a couple of little tweaks. I mean, if you're a type A personality, you probably looked into these things, but you need stuff that you can implement every day. Then yeah, I think you should definitely look into my program. If you are that type of person, you want a bit more information, comment on this post. Leave a comment below, yes please, or something like that. Whatever you want to say, right at the bottom. I normally say write strong body, strong mind at the bottom of this post, and then I'll send you over some details, and maybe we can jump on a call and we can talk about where you're at, what you need, and see if you're appropriate for my program. If you're not appropriate for my program, then I can probably point you in the direction of other resources, whether it be podcasts, books, like some other trainer potentially who isn't me. But either way, if you're someone who wants to lead their best life, wants to make sure that they don't end up with, dementia or like metabolic conditions such as obesity, wants to be 70, enjoying life, having had the career that they want, having and spending time with your grandkids, if that's the sort of person you are, you want to really get the most out of life, then yeah, leave a comment below. Strong body, strong mind, and I'll send you over some details so that we can probably help you do that. So that's it. I hope you got a better understanding of who I am and where I've come from and why I do what I do and why I put this program out there. And if you want more information, please comment below. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. See you later. Bye.